Hello everyone and welcome to another video. If you are new here, my name is Rose, and if you missed last week's video, we had an amazing time while watching in Harvey Bay and made the drive up to Bundaberg because today the sun is shining, the tank is clean, and we are going to the Great Barrier Reef. So we are going to see the reef with Lady Musgrave Experiences, and the section of the reef where they take you out to go see it is the second most southern area where you can see the reef. The only one that is more southern is Lady Elliot, and to get to Lady Elliot you have to fly, which means you have to spend the night if you want to scuba dive. And anyway, we went to Lady Musgrave for everything we wanted to do. That morning we arrived bright and early to head out onto the ocean. But today was one of the days where I decided to spend a little bit more on this experience. Now, there is just the base tour where they basically just take you out, and it includes everything that we got to do, but we added on the VIP seats, which I'll explain in a second, as well as scuba diving. So we added on 2 out of the 3 extras that you can add on. So we were trying to pack everything in because we're not sure when the next time we're going to be at the Great Barrier Reef is, and I wanted to be able to relax and enjoy everything as much as possible, so we did a lot. So with VIP, the main thing and that I especially wanted was the premium lounge seating. So you sit on an upper deck, air-conditioned, super comfy seats, and you have your own private area that no one else is allowed to come into, and you have your own, attendant barista lady who was very nice. The entire crew, everyone was so nice this entire day. And my original plan was to just sleep on the way out there, just relax, sip my coffee as we go out over the waters. But no, we were hitting some huge waves. And I mentioned this in one of my other videos, but the tour had been delayed 2 days due to bad weather. So if this was good weather, I can only imagine how bad the waves were during the bad weather, so I'm really thankful that our tour actually was postponed so that we didn't have to experience that. But anyway, these waves were huge. We had a seasickness patch on from when we did the humpback whale tour in those last 3 days, so I had one of those on, as well as took some seasickness medication, and I honestly did not spend much time in those premium lounge seats that I wanted so bad. I sat on that front upper deck. I tried to have Zach film some of it, but you can't even tell on his phone how wavy it is. But from people walking around, on the deck, people were falling over. It was very wavy. So the boat ride lasted about 2 hours, and then we made it to what they call Lady Musgrave headquarters, which is in a coral cay. So there was no waves there. It was so nice. The water was so calm, especially compared to what we had just come from, but it was crystal clear blue water. It was so beautiful. The boat we come in on is so big that it can't come close to the actual island, so this is to keep the reef safe, stay in the deep waters, those sorts of things. So the entire group that comes out on the boat is broken up into separate groups depending on how large the tour day was, and you rotate through 3 activities that they offer: an island walking tour, a glass bottom boat tour, as well as snorkeling. So we didn't have too huge of a group. There were only 2 sections, so everyone was snorkeling in the afternoon, and in the morning everyone was doing the island and glass bottom boat tour, which was fine. Nothing was overcrowded. That was completely fine. So Zach and I were in the turtle group, and our first stop was the island tour. We learned all about the birds on the island, as well as how the trees that are there came to be, and how the island itself formed. We learned about the birds that lay nests in the trees, as well as the ones that lay nests in the ground, and all the coral that makes up the sand along the island. We were there when the water was extremely low, so there was more of the reef exposed than normal, which also meant the turtles had to walk a little bit further to get to the area of the water where they can swim, so we could see their shells out in the water. And we did actually end up seeing a mama turtle that had just laid her nest full of eggs. On the way from the island back to the headquarter boat, we had our glass bottom boat tour. Honestly, I didn't really see much during this tour through the actual glass bottom of the boat, because where the sea turtles normally hang out, none of them were there. They were all swimming around. But we saw a family on their own personal boat, and the kids were in the water swimming with these 2 sea turtles. We then came back and had lunch, which according to their website is a buffet lunch using fresh local produce, including prawns, cold meats, and a selection of salads. Honestly, it was a pretty good lunch. I ate a lot, I was full, and it didn't make me feel sick. So I appreciate it. I think it was a good lunch. It was then time to get ready to actually swim the Great Barrier Reef. And this is where our scuba dive came in. So it turns out we were there on a random Tuesday, and Zach and I were the only people scuba diving that day. We had the best tour guide. Her name was Jessica, and she has the red fins on. So if we're in a video and you see someone with red fins, that's her. Zach and I both have yellow fins on. Now, Zach had the GoPro 8, and it was strapped to his wrist, and I had the 12, which I was holding, so I was able to control a little bit better. Zach's camera died a little bit early. It was having a hard time focusing under the water, so none of that is Zach's fault. But just so you know, those GoPro wrist mounts, a lot harder to deal with than just holding the GoPro. But it was our first time scuba diving also, so we were both way more focused on surviving underwater than filming. But we did get some pretty good footage. So to start, we got helped gearing up, went through all our safety training as well as applying that training underwater before we actually set off to explore the reef. There were tons of fish and lots of coral, and we got to see areas of the reef that there is no other way we would have been able to see. And on the way back, we even saw a stingray as well as a huge turtle swimming. When we got back, we hadn't had enough of the water, so we decided to head back out snorkeling. This is the area where everyone on the boat is allowed to go snorkel. It's sort of a little lagoon area with the low waters. You can still get in there through a little pathway that they have marked. And there were so many fish in this one tiny area. We were actually out there so long that they had to come get us and tell us to come back. We then got back on the boat and had some snacks, some cheese, and that sort of thing. And I was so nervous about getting sick again that I wanted to stay out on the decks. And I was sitting on the very top deck. And eventually I fell asleep. I was so exhausted. And then I figured if I could fall asleep up here, I'll be fine down low. So then I moved back down to my bottom seat and fell asleep for most of the ride all the way back to the land. But anyway, Zach and I really enjoyed our experience with Lady Musgrave. I can't say I recommend them over anyone else because we haven't done any other tours on the Great Barrier Reef. Going there is really once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I feel like Lady Musgrave made that experience happen for us. It was truly memorable, and I feel like it was a highlight of our trip there. In next week's video, we'll be exploring the town of Noosa, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that one, along with the rest of our adventures in Australia, and I'll see you there. Bye!